Hi, we'd like to welcome you to Veterans Issues here at CANTV, Channel 21. My name is Carol Williams. I'm with the United States Veterans Art Program, and my co-host is Lt Colonel Lucila Ibarra.
You can call me Lucy.
Lucy Ibarra. I thought maybe I'd give it a little spin there. And we're coming to you on a Thursday night, February the 14th. We are going to talk about a lot of things that are very important to us and to, I think, what is true for the entire veterans community as well as just about everybody. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the organization that I represent first. This is the United States Veterans Art Program. Our mission is to increase the representation of veterans in the arts program. A couple of ways that we do this is to donate artistic tools, what we call, to recreation therapy departments within VA facilities throughout the country. We talk to the recreation music art therapists, which generally every VA facility has a department like that, and we ask them what they need. Generally, they need a lot of different things. It's an alternative and a very long-standing, effective alternative type of therapy for a lot of different types of diagnoses, including physical, mental, emotional disorders or disabilities. So we actually go to the facilities, find out what they need, and we talk about art, and we talk about how art impacts on our feelings and our thoughts and also our physical ability to communicate. Lucy and I know each other because there is a program at Lovell, VA, in North Chicago called the Expressive Arts Program that is run by Dr. John Bair. And they get together and just do things together. You don't have to be, this is the important thing, you don't have to be an artist, you don't have to be artsy, and you don't have to want to be artsy, and you don't have to do anything in order to do any of these things. You don't have to do any of those things to ask to be referred to recreation therapy in any VA facility. You get a referral. They'll put you together with any number of different types of activities that some of them are very individualized, some of them are group therapy type things, some of them are group activities, but that's what USVAP is active with. We also talk about veterans in the arts with local activities. Here is our website in case you'd like to get in touch with us. That's www.usvap.org. You can email us at admin@usvap.org. You can give us a call. Go to our website and see what it is that we do. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about something that isn't necessarily related to the subject of art per se, but it's all connected, and it's all very important in how we turn things over in our heads and what we do with the issues that we face, normal life, particularly in military life, and that is the subject of military sexual trauma. Lt Colonel Lucila Ibarra is a person who has been an officer for prevention and treatment of military sexual trauma for several years, but she is also a MST, is what we call it, military sexual trauma. She is also a MST survivor. We have a lot to talk about in terms of that subject. We are a hotline, open dialogue show. If you would please give us a call with the number on your screen, 312-738-1060. Give us a call and add to anything that we have to say today. We've been here for the last several months talking about the same thing because that's what we believe in. Lucy is going to tell us a little bit about the types of definitions that she was taught to give as far as MST goes, types of prevention. Why is the problem getting worse?
It's unfortunate. It really is. Even though we've gone through so many levels, modules, trainings, policies, procedurals, and even at DOD level, but we're still not getting it. And in my experience as an equal opportunity advisor and as a DSARC, that's what I was, deployed sexual assault response coordinator in Iraq, I find that many of our offenders, we focus on, and I was just reading how there was a SARC that made SARC of the Year, Sexual Assault Response Coordinator, but the focus was trained unit victim advocates, so many, 100 or so, do the walks, do the, put lights in some of the areas that are, we're still not talking about who commits these offenses.
This is a picture of you in
this is in
uniform.
This is when we were training at Fort Dix, right before we left.
And this is at Fort. One of my favorites.
This is in Balad. This is in Iraq, in front of our unit.
Right.
And
I just wanted for you to see who you're hearing speak to you. Okay, continue.
Yeah, and again,
you're saying that all of the prevention mechanisms are aimed at sometimes the people who aren't responsible for the offenses.
And that's been my experience where the majority of the offenders are leaders or are those positions in leadership positions. And this has been my experience even when I was enlisted. And so here I am as a Lieutenant Colonel 30 years later, and it has not changed. Even though we bring out awareness and all these campaigns, and the April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month and everything, and yet we don't connect the dots. We don't want to face the mirror. Maybe I had something to do with it as a leader. What do I want to do about it? Or maybe I want to. Oh gosh, but nobody told me this, because we're so focused on the junior ranks, but then all this mandatory training, who are the ones that are missing? The leaders. They're not there. I know that, my colleagues.
So they're not doing the soul searching on a personal level to figure out what it is that creates an environment where people feel comfortable. Essentially, my favorite term, which is sexualizing the workplace. We're going to show you a couple of examples of that.
And also where we had a commander that was relieved in Afghanistan, and I'm very familiar with these briefings that we have in our JOC, in our Joint Operations Center. And yes, they try to inject some special message of the day or a caption or something that's going to motivate or that's going to instill or that's going to kind of bring us to think about our families or not forget that we're here for a mission and stuff like that. But then there's that environment where it goes a little bit overboard in the sense that humor to the point where it's raw, where it is not appropriate. And so when commanders sanction that or don't think nothing of it, and even though the advisors, the EO or the JAG or the chaplain or someone in that specialty capacity will not or cannot, and if they do say something, they're kind of shut. They're kind of shut. Well, they're just I'm the leader. I'm the commander.
Well, we talked last time that we were here about how difficult it is to be pretty much anyone and hear things that are actually they're offensive, but not offensive enough to, take a whack at anybody, but they're offensive enough to actually be offended by.
Yeah, let's
but
see what
to
they
speak
think.
up, yes, but to speak up and say, that's either to say a simple sentence to somebody, that's not funny to me, is so difficult to do. It requires a lot of courage.
And even if it is said, it is kind of snuffed out. It is snuffed out. Oh, you don't really mean that. Oh no. Oh no, that you're just making a big deal out of nothing. And then when I see my soldiers or those that because I talk to them, and many will not will not come in and file a formal complaint or even an inquiry.
Right.
They will just kind of talk to me on the side, thinking that maybe I can put a bug in the commander's ear. But I will act on the chatter. I will act on the chatter, and we need to be proactive.
Well, you've been in a unique situation to where you've been enlisted and you've been an officer. You've done a lot of things over a long span of years. And you've seen a lot of things come and go. And to be truthful, you're a very assertive, appearing person. I mean, you sit here and you're in front of this TV camera, and no one would ever think, oh, Lucy can't say what she thinks. They would never think that of you. They would say, whoa, she will call you on it if she hears it. But in truth, is that how you feel? And is that what you're able to do?
No. There's what I call a toxic environment. It's very prevalent. Even for us as leaders, if there's something that's against the grain of the culture, of the leadership culture, we're kind of voted off the island. We really are.
So no matter how assertive, you know, it's easy for us to be on camera and say what we think. And to be truthful, you're not calling in to our show to argue with us. So please give us a call at 312-738-1060 if you've got another opinion, because otherwise we can just sit here and say whatever we feel, and we're very comfortable with that. But we'd like to hear from people who have had either situations that have concerned them, that give others an example of what not to do, how to handle things. We'd like to hear situations from both genders, because this is not just a male on female problem, and it's not going to be that way either. This is not a military environment community problem. This is social wide. It's just that we get to come here and talk about it in the military because we're both veterans. This is the subject of the show, Veterans Issues, and it gives us a really sacred opportunity to talk to the population of people who are listening to this show about a subject that's so dear to our hearts, and to a population that we feel would benefit from it. We're going to show you a couple of examples of what Lucy is talking about with humor. I brought a couple things a couple of weeks ago that were similar in terms of how do we put information out, and it can be very subtle. I'm going to start with an older. This is a publication that the military puts out, and they still do, and it's called the Preventative Maintenance Monthly. This is dated the 1961 series, and I'm going to scoot that up just a little bit so that you can see a very curvaceous woman, and she has a very swooning admirer in the back, who's holding what looks to be some sort of a fuel pump, and she's pretty curvaceous there. This is the Preventative Maintenance Monthly that the military actually distributes.
And where it's required to, many commands require it that it be posted on the bulletin board as part of the safety awareness and to safety and equipment maintenance, especially in our motor pools.
Right. So motor pools. So she's saying with this ultimate come hither look, could it be that your torque wrenches, gauges, and testing equipment need calibrating? Oh my goodness. This is my personal favorite here. I'm going to try to zoom in on this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is Joe's dope sheet from the Preventative Maintenance Monthly. They're talking about tire inflation. So you've got the life of your tires depends on inflation. They'll be too round or too flat if you ignore that. So they're giving an example of a woman who's overinflated, and then obviously the dowdy, prudy looking, prim looking woman is probably what we would call underinflated, and the caption below says, "We have the world's best equipment.
Take care of it."
Take care of it. And this is from 1954. Now we're going to upgrade to 2003. We've gotten
13, I think.
This says 2003,
Oh, okay.
October 3rd.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'd love to see the one for 2013. Preventative now. She looks pretty interesting to see in your motor pool. And she's talking about something fairly dry. But she's got that little wink in her eye there that gives you the indication that, well, she might be available in your motor pool.
The Cleopatra eyes?
Oh, yes, the Cleopatra eyes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Approved for public release by the Department of the Defense. And that's how we're teaching people, figure if we can get their attention. And how do we get their attention? Do we use, pictures of dogs and cats to do it? No. We use pictures of women. And this one is actually from 1971. I'd love to be able to show this much better. This is about air pollution, which makes it even more ironic. They're talking about air pollution, which is, in itself a really progressive way to think about what we do as far as creating not just waste but also debris, unhealthy conditions both in the air and the water and the land. So here it is, they're talking about air pollution, but they're using this really sexy woman to say that no way, this air pollution is too much, kill those idling engines. And she's got these go-go boots on, and she's got the slit in her shorts up here, which of course you can't see. The point being that is it that true that people in the military have to have some sort of a constant message in order to make them pay attention? And it becomes habitual that I need somebody to constantly be stimulating some other part of my brain before I'm going to...
Got to draw them in.
Before I'm going to be part of this community.
Got to draw them in. Something that matters. Something that's going to draw them in. Well, and then there's the opposite where, okay, if you don't come to the training, we're going to give you... You're not going to be able to leave, or you're not going to get paid, or something of that sort, where it's more of a disciplinary measure as opposed to, wait a minute, this is for the welfare, for our well-being, and for the safety of this command. This is for our livelihood. This is going to keep us alive. But that's not enough.
Right. So when you were the prevention and
the sexual assault response coordinator,
right?
Yeah.
Were you actually handling people's situations that they brought up?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. And inevitably, it starts out small. It starts out innocent enough. It starts out like very trivial and almost like, well, I didn't think nothing of it. Well, but in hindsight, yes, these are all indicators. These are all minor red flags that could explode into bigger issues. But if we don't address these issues, if we don't address our behavior, if we don't address our leaders and the way we lead, then by golly, we need to build more medical centers around the globe.
Just to treat what better leadership would be possibly able to contain. I'm sure that you hear this quite often. I hear it quite often, that the VA, to get in to see a psychiatrist or any kind of therapist, takes forever. You put your claim in, you wait 9 months or 2 years to see a psychiatrist. One of the things that I want to show as an overhead that we're just going to throw out there, because sometimes we do think that the best person to heal the damage that's been done by others is other people, i.e. doctors, therapists, psychiatrists, or something that comes in a bottle that's full of pills. Sometimes there are people who can show you how you can sort of medicate yourself as far as therapy goes, and of course we're going to show the picture of Tony next, but Tony is her dog. But there are several places on the internet if you're looking for a place to call or get in touch with because you're not able to get in at the VA. This is a group called the Soldiers Project. It's nationwide, but they also have people here in Chicago that will offer free psychological treatment to military service members. There's a phone number here, and there's a email address. The phone number for the Soldiers Project Chicago is area code 877-761-4377. You can email them at Chicago at, all one word, thesoldiersproject.org. And they are licensed. They are mental health professionals who provide free counseling if you are unable to get into someone at the VA. And sometimes I think that it's nicer to kind of be on the outside. There's another site called www.helppro.com. They are also offering free therapy. You can, if you're the kind of person who loves to get on Facebook and networking is really helpful for you, these are some Facebook pages. You can go to Military Sexual Trauma Network. If you're on Facebook, you can just type that in and search. There are people who feel very supported just knowing that there's other people out there, because we do know that the stigma is probably just as intimidating as anything that's been done to you physically. Here's other sites on Facebook. I'm just going to put these up here. There's even a Mothers Against MST, Women Veterans of MST, MST support group. We just saw a movie that we wanted to mention. You want to talk about the Invisible War?
Yeah, and
our last minute and a half that we have, and nobody's going to call us and challenge us.
I want to kind of piggyback on what you just say is that I know there's many like me out there, survivors, those that are struggling. I know that, and I'm not the only one. There's so many like me, male and female. But it's to give an opportunity. I was hell bent on taking everything to my grave. But it's people like me that already have a very big, difficult time trusting others. So we already have a tough time trusting. So it is important that we give the system, the VA system, an opportunity, because if they don't, then there's no way for them to fix, to repair, to kind of correct or kind of do better if we don't give them a chance. Because
so
then we're also the solution. We're also the solution. But as oh gosh, what were you telling me? You're asking me?
Oh well, I was going to show your wonderful Tony here. Tony. This is one of Lucy's therapies.
Yeah,
it's her dog Tony.
And now I'm puppy sitting. So.
Well, unfortunately, we are going to be back Unfortunately, we're
Out of
we're
time.
here tonight. We're out of time. This is the United States Veterans Art Program. My name is Carol Williams,
And I'm Lucy Ibarra. Lucy.
Lieutenant Colonel,
Oh, yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
We're going to be back in March. We only have a little bit of time when we're here, but please do tune in. Keep on with us, and we're going to get this solved someday.
And I'll share more as we go more.
Absolutely.
I'll share more, a little bit more of my story each time because
Great.
it's not easy.
No, absolutely.
No.
Please come back with us next month, and we'll
Tune
talk
in.
to you then. Tune in. Absolutely. Thursday. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.